A chilly but sunny day in Columbia, South Carolina, as we get ready for a top 5 matchup between number 2 South Carolina and number 5 Texas. Two tough teams and already an electric atmosphere in South Carolina. Taking a look at the starting lineups: Rory Harmon, Shea Holley playing a program record 150th game for Texas today. Madison Booker, Leah Moore, Taylor Jones for South Carolina. Te-Hina, Paopao, Raven Johnson, Bree Hall, Chloe Kitts, and Sanaya Fagan. We mentioned that Ashlyn Watkins is out for the season. A key difference maker on both sides of the ball. So many intangible winning plays. Tore her ACL. South Carolina will be without her the rest of the way. As South Carolina's head coach, 13-3 all-time against Vic Shaefer. Those two used to meet often when Vic was the head coach of Mississippi State in the SEC. What a job Vic has also done now at Texas. Big time anticipation for this matchup. And we are about ready to go in Columbia. Here we go, Texas and South Carolina, number 2 and number 5.
See South Carolina starting out in man-to-man. That is their bread and butter defense, as it is for Texas.
Here's Rory Harmon. Harmon through the lane. Nice finish with the left hand. And she's been getting a little bit more of her bounce back over the last couple of weeks after missing last season with a torn ACL.
Her bounce and explosiveness, and that's so much part of her game, especially when she's attacking the rim or getting to her mid-range pull-up.
And that's a whistle going the other way. Leah Moore fired up. Texas was able to make it to the Elite Eight even after their point guard and leader went down a season ago. Madison Booker was the primary reason why, as she misses the jumper there, but able to follow it up. Moore twists inside and
running into screens, trying to keep her in front of you, and then trying also to keep her off the glass.
Here's Booker mid-range, no, and Kitts secures the rebound. Paopao pushing pace for South Carolina. He was so good a season ago en route to that national championship. Has added to her game this year as Fagan drops in the jumper. Sanaya Fagan, another player who will be relied upon a little bit more in that front court without Watkins.
So that's one of the things she can do. She steps into that shot confidently. She hit her first 3 of the season a game ago.
Here's Booker, gets the whistle.
That's where she really excels.
An All-American. She was the first freshman in Big 12 history to win Conference Player of the Year.
You see Texas extend their pressure defense full court. They will at times do that the entire game.
Here's Hall. Stops, dishes, Fagan, again. Here's Booker. Booker, pull up. Missed it badly. Fagan the rebound. Booker inaccurate at the start of this one. Here's Johnson storming in. Got hit by Jones. She also brings a stoicism.
Yes.
We were talking with her about that before the game today. The mentality of being unbothered regardless of circumstances.
The look you just saw on her face is the exact same look you're going to see throughout the entire game. Even if she finishes with 30 or has a monster block, but that's what she looks like.
Said it comes from her mother, taught her to stay poised regardless of all circumstances, and she does. Here battling on the offensive glass, something both of these teams do incredibly well. Texas #1 in the nation in offensive rebounding percentage. Harmon gets blocked by Fagan. Oldacare collects it, can't flip it in. Another chance, and there's 3 offensive rebounds on 1 possession for Oldacare.
6'10" wingspan certainly helps, but she just has a knack and attacks the offensive glass.
5 offensive boards already for Texas. Paopao connects out of 3. Here's Moore twisting inside. Look who it is, Oldacare again. Another chance on the interior. 1 more for Oldacare. Can't put it in. How about again? No. Oldacare piling up the offensive rebound. The slight fist. I don't have a 6'10 wingspan, and yet the monitor's out. Here's Booker. Little pull-up. Off the mark. Booker comes up with the offensive board and misses again. I mean, Texas with 10 offensive rebounds already, but they're 2 for 16 from the floor.
Booker's gotten really, really good looks for her, too. She's just not able to get any of them to fall early.
All right, Rebecca, is any of what we're seeing Texas be able to do on the offensive glass a sign of no Watkins for South Carolina as Paopao flips it in, plus the foul. Foul on Aaliyah Moore. Well, and when we talked to Dawn Staley back in early November, she said her challenge to Paopao was having a counter to her three. Here's Booker. Booker dumps it over the head of Oldacare out of bounds as Texas 0 for 6 from the floor. As far as opposing field goal percentage at the rim goes, at 46%. And so we're seeing some of that too. A team who defends the rim amongst the best in the nation. Edwards gets the foul called against Oldacare. First foul on Kyla Oldacare. There goes the jacket. Vic Shaefer is fired up. He knows how difficult it is to win on the road at South Carolina and was not happy with that call on Oldacare.
Well, also, he already has Aaliyah Moore on the bench with 2 fouls.
Texas 2 for 18 from the floor. South Carolina on a 7-0 run. 8-point first quarter lead. Booker back in. Here's Booker. Spinning in traffic, dishing out. Harmon, mid-range. No. Rebound. Oldacare again pops it in, plus the foul. Kyla Oldacare, who told us earlier today, her mentality is, I have to win my rebounding matchup, are offensive. At least 7 of them are. For Wiley, swoops it up and in, plus the foul. No. That'll be an offensive foul. The freshman Justice Carlton called for it. Meanwhile, we get word 8 offensive boards for Oldacare already. And that's going to be a foul. Oldacare going over the back. You see the way the offense have struggled so far today. And they are 3 for 21 against this South Carolina defense in the first. Carlton able to flag it down. Out there with Harmon, Booker, Taylor Jones, and Jordan Lee. South Carolina with Fagan, Tessa Johnson, Chloe Kitts, Raven Johnson, and Mylasia for Wiley. Booker off again. Good contest from Kitts. Booker now 0 for 7. For Wiley, up under and in. Carlton barrels in, can't finish. Jones the O board, put back won't go. Volleyed in the air. Here comes South Carolina. Tessa Johnson is fouled. Tessa Johnson is such a key figure for South Carolina off the bench in their national championship victory. About a 13-second difference, game and shot clock. Carlton lumbers in, zigs and zags her way to the cup. The free throw line and efficient with those 7. 3 seconds left. Johnson can't bank it in, and that'll do it for the first. Rebecca, I'm not sure I've ever seen what we saw in that first quarter. Texas had 18 more field goal attempts than South Carolina in the quarter. That is an astonishing amount. That in itself is shocking. But to have 18 more field goal attempts and be down 9 at the end of the quarter.
Yards after catch. He said, basically for them, we have to finish with contact today. And another example of them getting in the paint, absorbing a little bit of legal contact, and not able to finish.
Yeah, it's obviously a term usually reserved for football. Really interesting to hear him use it as often as he did, as Kitts finishes on a nice delivery from Bree Hall. Here's Hall, hanging with Booker again. Harmon gets some space and hits the jumper. A much-needed bucket for Texas. They're 5 for 29 from the floor. All the way down, layup not finished by Dowda after a beautiful down-court feed.
Down to one of the players who's going to get more opportunity in minutes with Watkins' injury.
There is Booker finally getting one to drop. Had been 0 for 9. Dawn Staley talked about we're going to need to score against them. Hopefully it's not a game in the 50s. Good looks. Here's Carlton. Guarded by Edwards. Carlton gets denied. Fagan was there with the help.
Outstanding defense by South Carolina, all possession long, keeping their player in front of them, denying passes, and then the help comes over and Fagan able to get the block. But from start to finish, that was a terrific defensive possession.
6 on the shot clock. Inbound underneath, and Carlton able to finish. Paopao will fire, and hit from 3. When Ntanda bodies in, looking for an angle, can't find it. Harmon jitters, no. Johnson the rebound. A jam-packed, engaged crowd in Columbia. Dump it underneath, Edwards lays it in, plus the foul. One of the things that Dawn Staley talks about all the time, you come to South Carolina, you have to understand the points, the minutes, they may not be what they'd be somewhere else, but you're trying to be a cog in winning, and that's been a hallmark in recent years for sure, is when Ntanda able to finish after the high dribble. 27-17, number 2 South Carolina leads number 5 Texas. South Carolina has won 50 straight SEC regular season games. Paul floats it in on a nice take.
That was tough. That was a tough finish. Nice crossover to get past her defender and into the floater. And we've talked about how hard she's working on the defensive end as well on Booker.
Here's Booker. Booker pull up off again, well contested by Hall.
Great defense by Hall.
Booker now 1 for 14 from the floor. Dump it down again. Fagan, Edwards, connection. Timeout, Texas. South Carolina's turned it over much more than is usual for them, but Texas has not been able to take advantage of that or their offensive rebounds as Carlton can't hit. Another look in the paint.
Yeah, go with the dribble drive that time, and she gets right into the paint. Good look. I mean, how many of those have just like burped back out of the rim so far in this game for Texas?
Excellent use of burp. Here's Fagan diving in.
They have to show all of the things they can do outside of scoring.
Dawn Staley said, look, they're not going to be starters. You have to know how you can blend with a team. As Harmon gets called for the offensive foul.
Just been really, really tough defensively, South Carolina.
Here's Kitts backing down, kicking out for Wiley. 16-point South Carolina lead. For Wiley, hops in and finishes. What a bucket from Malaysia for Wiley. A 13-2 South Carolina run. 8-0 over the last 2:15. Harmon on the drive, flips it in, plus the foul. Anybody on our team that can go into the WNBA and start. Not anybody. Not anybody. And
so nobody?
Yes, that's right. and Dawn's point is, so you better learn how to play. Inside of 2 minutes remaining in this second quarter. Here's Kitts. Kitts, pull up, rims in. Shooting at 70% compared to Texas's 22 and falling. Knocked out of bounds. South Carolina ball. Paopao 11 points on 4 of 4 shooting as Johnson. South Carolina with 11 of them in this half. Texas has been unable to take advantage. Harmon forces it up and in off the window. Now, one other thing, Aaliyah Moore picked up her second. Kyla Oldacare picked up her second. Vic Shaefer did not risk them picking up a third in this first half. But South Carolina has taken advantage of Moore and Oldacare being on the bench. Texas had 13 offensive rebounds in the first quarter. They've had just one in the second quarter. Here's Lee in transition, can't finish, and that'll do it. Harmon didn't get it off in time. Texas's largest halftime deficit since playing South Carolina in the 2021 Elite Eight. South Carolina has won 66 straight home games, the 9th longest streak in Division I history. They have won 50 straight regular season SEC games, the longest streak in conference history, as Booker got right to the cup, but again, misses the layup.
Really well designed backdoor play for Madison Booker. Gets a great look, cannot finish it.
And that's been the story thus far for Booker and Texas. Booker now 1 for 15 from the floor. By the way, when you see that Texas has not attempted a three yet in this game, that is not completely outside of their character. They do not rely on the three ball, as Moore, who sat most of that first half with 2 fouls, finishes on the interior.
It took away defensively as any catch and score opportunities for Texas. Texas with 1 assist.
Here's Moore turning the corner, gets denied. 5th block of the day for Sanaya Fagan. Here's Raven Johnson. Kitts couldn't grab it. Booker corrals it. Here's Booker elevating and dropping it in. Starting the third, you don't want fouls like that. Here's Paopao putting it down in a crowd. Able to escape. Hall connects on a 3.
She's missed 15 field goal attempts in this game, most in her career.
Here's Booker. Lost the handle and the basketball for Wiley. On the break, lays it in. We all know people who have been absolutely devastated by what is going on in Los Angeles right now.
And I think so many people who aren't out there are thinking, how can I help? And that's a perfect way to do so, by donating to the Red Cross.
So just head to redcross.org/ESPN. South Carolina, a 16-point lead over Texas. 4.5 minutes to go in the third quarter. South Carolina, number 2 team in the nation. Texas, number 5, is Johnson. A rare off game for Madison Booker. Misses again. Joyce Edwards couldn't scrape it up. Moore gets denied. Moore hesitated, and it gave Raven Johnson a moment to come back defensively as Edwards finishes on the other end, plus the foul. Dawn Staley told us before the game she felt like their schedule up until this point has really prepared them for a game like this, for a stretch like this, where South Carolina is going to play 5 straight games against ranked teams. And I would say they've looked prepared thus far.
Without question, they have looked unfazed and ready since jump.
21-point lead. Here's Moore trying to find an angle and does. South Carolina, they've really struggled to shoot the basketball. The rest of the season, they've been incredibly efficient. You wonder about that because these are by far the 2 best opponents they have played.
And what's interesting is very different styles defensively, as you see the nice take by Mylasia for Wiley.
Preston reverses it up, gets fouled. Single players in double figures. It's Paopao. She has 11 points.
Collectively, and their wear-down capabilities, it's one of the reasons they're one of the best teams in the country.
When you're looking for talent, they're going to find people who can score. You really need to know how to do all of those other winning things. South Carolina's players certainly showing that today.
And that's one of the things that can get lost at lower levels of basketball. How do you affect winning when you're not scoring?
Spoken like someone who's had some experiences at the local rec teams. Johnson lobbing it in. Edwards waits and finishes. At a 2-second difference, game and shot clock. Preston, 5 to shoot. Dumps it down. Moore, 3 to shoot. Oldacare gets it off in time and plops it in. That'll end the third as a 19-point lead on Texas as we begin the fourth quarter. Texas held to 9 in the first quarter, 13 in the second, 12 in the third. That's their lowest in all 3 quarters this season individually. And South Carolina's defense has just been terrific as Edwards going to get called for the foul there after the miss. South Carolina's defense for the way they have defended Booker. Holly's jumper is off. Rebound into the arms of Full Wiley. Full Wiley speeding ahead, lost it. Booker comes away with it. 19th South Carolina turnover. Here's Preston lining up a three and knocking it down. The first made three of the game. How often have we heard Dawn Staley talk to us about the value of the highlighters, their practice players, of which Sam was before becoming manager. Very nicely done. And tying it all in with the highlighted shoes on the floor.
Right, which was actually just a coincidence.
Maybe it's an homage we didn't know about.
Right.
Here's Preston. Preston flips it up and in, and now Texas getting a little something going in this fourth quarter. 7-0 Texas run. Edwards has it knocked away. 5 to shoot. Edwards lost the footing. Johnson needs to put it up and does. Huge bucket. Preston a three. Way off on that one. Rebound caroms out to Hall. This is the tough part about when you fall in a hole like Texas has. You almost feel like you can't afford to have a single moment like Raven Johnson's putback or that miss from Preston when you're trying to mount the comeback. 6.5 to go in the fourth. Tessa Johnson, she got it. Pushing pace for Texas. Lee's been terrific from three this season. Hasn't gotten any looks in this game. Gets denied inside. Oldacare able to separate and dump it in. 12 offensive rebounds now for Oldacare in 15 minutes of action. Fifth time this season, Texas has had at least 20 boards in a game as Pitts gets fouled.
Coach, what do you want from me? You don't even have to ask. Coach comes over, makes it very clear. This is what I expect. This is what I want you to do. This is what I want you to work on in these moments.
Pitts hits both free throws. And Dawn Staley talked to us about that before the game, how Mylasia Full Wiley learning the when of everything when it comes to simplifying things or getting creative and fancy. But feeling like she's improving upon that. Booker's jumper, that one rolls in.
Each SEC team has one conference opponent they play twice, and these two teams will be playing each other once again as Fagan goes in for another hoop.
Well, that game will be on February 9th, Super Bowl Sunday. A little appetizer before the big game. Fagan, 8 points, 7 rebounds, 6 blocks now for Sanaya Fagan, who has just made an incredible impact this afternoon, coming up with another rebound here for South Carolina. China Robinson was reminding us earlier, our dear friend and colleague, that Sanaya's parents, both hoopers. Mother Sherry played at Washington. Father Charles played at Morgan State. As again, South Carolina getting it done on the interior this time, Chloe Kitts. And Sherry actually was a teammate of LaChina's, won a Ben Hill championship, rec center in Atlanta back in the day, and was the best player carrying that team while also having 4 kids. That's the kind of multitasking we need to celebrate.
That's right.
Isn't that right, mother of 4?
That's right. My rec days were done by the time I had the first, though. God bless her.
18 points, South Carolina lead. Tarleton able to bang it in off the window. A Texas team that entered this game #1 in the nation in offensive efficiency. They had their lowest scoring first quarter, lowest scoring second quarter, lowest scoring first half, lowest scoring. And it was interesting, Dawn Staley was honest with us talking about, you know, a player like Sanaya Fagan, a player like Bree Hall. She's sure that they're thinking about how they can stand out ahead of the WNBA draft. Whereas, you know, maybe a player like Te-Hina Paopao has a little more conviction knowing she's going to get a shot in the pros and going to be drafted. Well, a performance like this from Sanaya Fagan, she looks every bit like a player who can help a WNBA roster.
This is how you do it. Fagan has run the floor. She's defended. She's done the other things. Bree Hall, as you see right there, has been rock solid defensively.
Oldacare hooks it in. Oldacare has been the brightest spot for Texas in this game. 10 points, 16 rebounds, and that's going to be a charge.
As the game goes on, it's been relentless from South Carolina, and I've loved every second of it.
And that is what Vic Shaefer really highlighted to us about South Carolina. Again, Kitts running, and then she finds Hall for the layup. Final 20 seconds here in Columbia. Reminder, NC State Stanford coming up next. Get a chance to host South Carolina on February 9th. Texas's previous season low was 65 points. Obviously going to obliterate that here today. No free chicken for everybody, as Oldacare would have had to miss both free throws. Crowd boos. That's about the only thing they've had to boo today. Make it 67 straight home wins. 51 straight regular season SEC wins.